Hello, hello, everybody. This is the night, August 3rd. It's finally here. The first round of the HFFL rookie draft in 2021. And unfortunately, Dustin could not make it today, but we do have an outstanding guest slash co host for tonight, Diaz.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
Yep. Diaz, of course, is one of the co owners for the Harlem. Are you going to be the Scrapers this year? I don't even know.
We haven't discussed it. We'll see. I like the idea of staying consistent, but every decision has to be made between the two of us. So we'll talk about it.
Yeah, that's true. Excited to see what your new team name will be. Excited to see what you're going to do with that first overall pick that's going to happen in maybe a couple minutes now, starting at 7:30. Let me actually send out a ping to everybody to make sure that everyone knows that we're live.
Sure.
And yeah, we're just going to wait around. Do you have an idea of who... I guess it's kind of awkward. Like, I don't want to ask you about who you're going to pick. Like, we can see it in a couple minutes now, right? So, I guess I was guessing, and I said this before too, I was guessing you guys are going to go for Najee Harris. And I think it makes a lot of sense, honestly, at that price. Having that young rookie running back keeper, I think, is really good. And I think he's the best one this year, just hands down. I know I said last year J.K. Dobbins was my number one running back. This year, it's Najee Harris.
Oh, that's exciting for us. Yeah, I mean, he's a very chalk pick. Uh, on this show recently or in the past, the statistic has been brought up that consolation bracket winners have been in the finals for the last 5 seasons, something like that. And what accompanies that statistic is that those teams very frequently take running backs. I've got the last three drafts pulled up, and it was Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Josh Jacobs, and Saquon Barkley. Having a running back for $20 that you can start is a huge advantage, and I think that that's something that Danny and I have spent a lot of time thinking about.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Again, I think with that price point, what you're getting, and running backs, they tend to perform almost immediately, right? I think Najee Harris is in a very good position to perform, but then again, I don't want to, peg you and corner you into this pick. I think there are some other potential players. I think this year, more than any other year, there could be a lot of surprises in terms of what you expect from a ranking such as this that we see on the auto draft of Fantrax page versus what actually happens in the rookie draft.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that makes the HFFL exciting always is that we're a super flex league, and so these standard rankings so rarely apply to our league. And so, you see the default for Fantrax, I think, is for a single QB league. And the question is always how high up will those quarterbacks be selected? Um, you can see someone like a Kyler Murray going third overall, like he did a couple of years ago. Sometimes you can see quarterbacks fall a little bit, like Justin Herbert did last year, even though he was a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. So it varies from owner to owner how highly they value that position. And so many owners have that position spoken for. Many of them even have two quarterbacks that they'll likely keep. But I'm very curious to see how that shakes out and how many are left going into the second round where there could potentially be a bidding war if somebody falls for some reason.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I think even, just looking at the QB position, there's probably a lot of discussion about what order they should be in as well. So it's going to be interesting within that. And then even for the other positions, I think there's going to be a little bit of disagreement about who goes where at what time, right? So I think this is one of the most exciting first rounds as well as overall rookie drafts that we've had thus far, and I'm certainly super excited to get this started. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm ready to be blown away as usual by the HFFL.
Yeah, and I'm excited, Wonky, that you and I are on the show together because we're picking early in this draft, and so we'll be able to get it done, and then really be able to talk more about it. I'm nervous, even though really nothing can nothing can happen. I still feel nervous, so I'm just ready to get it out of the way.
uh, Yeah, no, I understand the feeling. I think what happens. I mean, I was one of those teams that picked first overall. Josh Jacobs, of course, was my pick a while ago, but I did feel the pressure, right? Even though no one's picking ahead of you, you don't want to get it wrong. And the first pick, it has that kind of pressure. You don't want to mess that up. It's just something that will be, I guess, kind of humiliating if you pick something. And I remember thinking about Kyler Murray that year, actually pretty seriously because again, I wasn't, um, you know, actually thinking that I was gonna pick that high. I got super lucky, but um, I man, I was tempted, but I kind of went the safer route by going with Josh Jacobs, which ended up working out. But yeah, I feel your your sentiment for being nervous here.
And it's encouraging because if you had made that decision and chosen Kyler Murray, you know what? You would have been in a good shape too. So
Well, that's true.
there's so much talent, here this year, like there is every year, that at the top of the draft, it's hard to go wrong. And we all wish the best for every owner and hope that luck is with them as they make their picks.
The other thing that's always interesting in our league, right, is how many trades will happen in the first round. I think we already saw one trade, which was my trade with John, where I moved up 2 picks for the second round pick. But I wonder, oh, did you already pick? Wait, what?
Listen, yeah, it's well known that I get very annoyed at the NFL draft. Um, there are no sponsors for this show this year, so we don't need to drag it out.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I agree. And again, I think we kind of spoiled it. We talked about it. Najee Harris, I love the guy. I think he's the number one running back of this class, hands down. I think I mentioned it a little bit in Discord. I don't get these other people who put other running backs up there. I don't see it. Najee Harris is the best all around back. The only thing he lacks is the breakaway speed, but other than that, he's just such a solid running back.
Yeah, and it's great to have a talented running back at the top of the draft. Um, it's just
Yep.
the positional viability is just so
Right.
important when really there's a lot of incentive to start three running backs every week, and it's hard to find them, and it's harder and harder with the new rules. So it's important.
Absolutely. I think that's such a key point you made, Diaz, with the three running backs that you start. I think that element is why these teams continue to have success when they pick these first overall picks as running backs. I think, Josh Jacobs for me was my third running back. And I think that it was the case for all of these other teams. I might be wrong. I haven't done the research, but I think that is the case for a lot of these teams where they have this extra running back, this extra, it's extra for them, but, it's just something that puts them over the top and makes them really competitive week in, week out.
Yeah, that $20 price tag. There's no. It's nearly impossible to find a comparable player at that price in the draft.
Right, right. Um, I do have to ask you. There has been a little bit of chatter about the vaccination status of Najee Harris. Um, are you concerned at all about that?
I didn't give it any thought at all. If I think that I really didn't look too closely at it. I think that it's the same level of risk as any other kind of injury
Mm-hmm.
or um, something that can affect a player. And I think it's so often counterproductive to be considering what kind of potential risks there are out there that every player may share or that we're not aware of. Maybe Najee Harris's vaccination status is very public, but the other players aren't, and so I can't say whether he has a disadvantage versus Javonte Williams or Jamar Chase or Jalen Waddle. I don't know any of their
Or so
statuses.
on and so forth. That's true. That's true. Um, so Waj just said that Harlem is anti-vax. The thing is, though, it's not only these rookies, but just in general this year. I think there's a number of players who are not vaccinated, and it's kind of disappointing from my perspective. Being a scientist, it's kind of annoying. But one in particular that really annoyed me was Lamar. He himself just got
Yeah,
COVID again, and I
yeah.
don't think he is vaxxed at the moment. So it just it just sucks. But everyone runs the risk, just as you said. It's the same for all of us, I think. Unless you have someone like Baker, which I'm sure Dustin will rub in our faces. um,
And good for Baker Mayfield. He's right, and it's not easy to make that statement, and I'm sure he has to deal with a lot of feedback about that.
sure,
But
sure,
I think that it's an important thing to say.
absolutely, absolutely. I think it's more important now than ever to do it because we have the choice. But I think this could go on and on about that if we if we wanted to. Um, You have already picked, and LAC is on the clock. They have about 10 minutes remaining to make their pick. Who do you think should go at number two?
Well, there's been a lot of talk about Kyle Pitts and how generational he is, and the positional advantage that he has over others, and that positional advantage could only increase as the consensus tight end one, Travis Kelce, continues to age. Classic stat: Travis Kelce is only 6 months younger than Rob Gronkowski or something like that. So he's not going to be that elite tight end forever. And if you have the opportunity to get a player who you could sign to a multi-year contract who will produce in that way, I think that it's really hard to pass that up. So I would project Pitts to go here, but that's just my opinion.
Do you think it's like a no-brainer? This is a lock, Kyle Pitts. There's no one else that you would consider at two?
I mean, Jamar Chase, the word generational gets thrown around every year, which is incorrect because generation lasts more than 1 year.
True.
But Jamar Chase has also, earned that moniker. And you look at a player like Justin Jefferson, who Warren is intimately familiar with, of course, and many would argue that during their time at LSU, Jamar Chase was a better receiver than Justin Jefferson. And so, looking at Warren's team, he has one wide receiver who he's going to keep for several years in Jefferson. And so it would be a lot of fun. It could make sense to pair Chase with him.
Yes.
But
Yes.
in my view, those are the two players who I think would be considered at number two.
Yeah, I think it would be fun, right? Reuniting these two, but in the fantasy sense. And I wouldn't be surprised if Warren picked Chase as well, just from the standpoint of me picking third. I have no idea what will happen, but yes, I would agree. It's probably between Pitts and Chase. Um, but yeah, I have no idea, and we're still waiting to hear back from Warren. We don't know what he's gonna do with this pick, and it's about halfway through. Yeah, a little bit more than halfway through his time. He's got plenty of time, I guess. But yeah, for me, I,
Hopefully,
I
he's
feel
got
kind of
the.
nervous. I feel kind of nervous. I have no idea what's gonna happen.
Do
Uh,
you feel that there is a tier break after Chase or Pitts, or do you think that there's other players who would slot in kind of in that same area?
I think there is a tier break. Yes, I do think so.
So then that bodes well for you that whichever player he chooses, I'm sure you have a preference,
I do have a
but whichever
preference.
player,
Yes,
yeah,
yes, I do have a preference. Um, uh, yeah, but I've been waiting a while to see which one would be chosen, right? I think, I think at least most people have expected the top three to go a certain way, right? I think most people see it, and so for me, I just want to see what the order of two and three is, right? So
yeah.
that's why I feel this you know heart beating sensation lost for words right now as I try to run the show and wait for the pick at the same time. But yeah, I mean, the chat is going crazy. People are talking about who's going where, and you know, Duo telling me that I'm likely getting Chase. We'll see. Whoa. And it is Kyle Pitts. It is Kyle Pitts that is taken. So that's the pick for Warren. I think this was um, I don't know. I mean, I think it's probably the more expected result between the two, right? I think Pitts was supposed to be taken two, maybe than Chase, but again, I wouldn't have been surprised if Chase was taken. Do you have any analysis there on Kyle Pitts other than what you've already said?
I mean, it gives Warren a really good position for the auction, I feel. Because of his legacy keepers, he's coming in with a lot of cash, potentially the most money to spend of any team. And the theoretically the most expensive players would be running backs if the trend from last season continues. Um, and the tight end, Travis Kelce. By eliminating potentially a need for tight end, he
Right.
can really zero in on value where he finds it in potentially building wide receiver depth or investing in a running back. And frankly, he can do both if if his keeper selections go the way that I expect them to go. So Kyle Pitts is a really good choice to just slot in there in your tight end slot, feel comfortable about that for likely the majority of the season or the whole season. And I think he's going to be a very exciting player to watch and player to own over the next several years.
Yeah, I think it's kind of as mentioned previously by Dustin on the Discord. It is kind of like a cheat code because he is a wide receiver like talent. He's so good on his routes, and I mean, even if he was just a wide receiver and not a tight end designation, I think he would be one of the top wide receivers in the class. But then putting him at tight end is going to be insane. The only concern is that he is a tight end, and if he is going to be used as a tight end, then it's going to limit potentially how many catches and stuff like that. But catches, yardage, touchdowns, all those stats that are obviously important for fantasy. But I think he will overcome that. I think he will be an amazing tight end for this year as well as the upcoming year. So yeah, so I will now take Jamar Chase. Of course, this is this is what everyone told me that I would get. And yeah, I wanted Jamar Chase. I don't know if I would have taken Jamar Chase at two. It's a very difficult decision, but I really like Jamar Chase. I know the generational talent moniker, as you said, gets thrown around, but I really do believe it with this guy. I think he is just an amazing wide receiver. When I was looking at some of his film, I think he is one of the best that I've seen so far. So he really blew me away. I believe in him a lot, and I think it only helps that he's gone to a situation where he is reunited with his college quarterback. And so I have high expectations for the year. I hope it ends up working out, and hopefully it can be a situation where could keep her in for multiple years. But those are high hopes, and we'll see if he lives up to them starting from week one.
Yeah, well, that's great. Congrats to you. It's always great when you're hoping a player falls and works out that way. To give a peek behind the curtain, we discussed a trade to move up to number one. You stuck to
Yes,
your
you did.
guns and said you
Yes.
think your guy is going to be there, and he ended up there. So that worked out really well, and you get the discount, the $60 price tag.
Yes, that is true. The discount is important, I think. I mean, it's not major, obviously. It's just $2, but still a discount. Still can save $2 here in the rookie first round of the rookie draft. And um, this is I think where it kind of goes away potentially from chalk. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what Flushing will do. What do you think Flushing will pick here with their fourth overall pick? Unless you have anything more on Jamar Chase that you want to say.
No, I mean, this is a really interesting situation. It's really challenging for me because Andrew Drew is a busy guy. He doesn't talk a lot in Discord, which means it's not always easy to predict what he's going to do, where he leans, which players he likes. Um, as you and Dustin discussed on your show last week, his team is really a blank slate. He could use help anywhere. Um, and so it's hard to say. Historically, I feel like he's someone who I've associated with young quarterbacks.
Right, right.
And this could certainly be a spot to take Trevor Lawrence or even Justin Fields or Trey Lance if feels a certain way about them. But that would be my expectation if I were, as I have mocked it. He's the owner of Trevor Lawrence. Uh,
Oh,
it'll
okay.
be it will be it may be an indication of his confidence about Deshaun Watson if he does indeed go that route.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's going to be certainly interesting. I think this is really where it's the draft begins in my eyes. I think the top three was kind of set. I mean, again, maybe Warren could have taken Chase. I think that it's possible. I don't rule it out, but um, this is where anything is possible. I feel like I think a lot of players can go here, and I wouldn't be surprised. Right, it's more than just two players that we are going to be talking about as potential picks. I do want to mention Diaz. I think your connection might be a little bit weird. It's kind of choppy a bit, but I don't know if you can um, fix
Yeah,
it
yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Oh,
I can try to deal with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a little bit. It's not terrible, but I think people in the chat are talking about Trevor Lawrence, just like you what you said, Diaz. I think he has a history of doing that. I think the running backs are not a surprise either, right? He could go ETN or Javante. I think last year he went with Cam Akers, which I thought was not super surprising, but I do believe he picked Akers ahead of someone maybe that I probably ahead of Dobbins, I think, which I wasn't agreeing with. But he went with that running back last year, so it could be that running back. Um, and who knows? Maybe he thinks highly of a wide receiver, and he could take that position as well. So I wouldn't be surprised with any of those selections, to be honest, in this draft. And even with the ordering of the running backs or QBs, I think Trevor obviously stands on top. I think that makes a lot of sense for many reasons, right? But with the running backs, I wouldn't be surprised again if it was Etienne or Javante or maybe even Michael Carter. I mean, Chu is a Jets fan, so there could be some sway there because of that. But we are still waiting, and someone threw out Zach Wilson. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows? Um, and Duo saying that we all messed. Oh, because of Wilson. No, no. I mean,
All right. Well, it looks like the pick is
oh,
in.
Javante Williams. I like it. I like it. You want to go first? Yes.
Yeah, kudos to Chu. Proved that my mock was wrong, and I think it's a great pick. Javante Williams, setting records at UNC, breaking tons of tackles. I saw it firsthand. Probably one of his best games was against the University of Miami. He is the start. He's who many consider to be, have an inside track to be the starting running back for the Denver Broncos. And his main competition there, Melvin Gordon, is a player who is aging, has a DUI issue that could suspension or some speculating that he may be cut. And so I think it's really a matter of when, not if, Javante Williams becomes the lead back in this backfield.
Yeah, I think Javante was a great pick. I mentioned this before, but I don't get ETN, the hype surrounding ETN. I just don't see it. I think Javante is better. And it's a fantastic pick. I think Warren is here now, so we can introduce him unless he doesn't want to speak, which is fine. Hello, Warren.
Hey, what's up?
Man, is it my connection that's a little weird? Maybe I'm the one. I mean, you seemed a little broken up too, but uh, what I have to ask you, Warren, what made you choose the Pitts between Pitts and Chase? I think I'm not sure if it was Chase who was the other person you were thinking of, but um, I know we talked a little bit about it, Warren, so that's why I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Fine.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're good.
Yeah. I was between Pitts and Chase, and I was actually like really going back and forth on it. But at the end of the day, I just think Pitts is, such a talent. I don't think he's going to go through the usual learning curve for a tight end because, if he's struggling with that stuff, they're just going to find other ways to move him around and get him involved because, they didn't draft him to not play. They're going to find a way to put him on the field. So I think the usual concerns about first round tight end where someone has to be able to do all the things a tight end does. I don't know if that's as in play as usual.
Right.
And Yeah, I just think he's awesome. Obviously, there's no more Julio. They don't have I think they're going to use him just as a big dude who catches balls rather than as a tight end.
Right. No, I agree.
Um,
I agree. And
yeah.
he's fantastic at catching balls. So I think he's I think yeah, man, he's really good. And I did want Chase actually, but it is still close. I mean, obviously having that type of talent in your tight end position is a cheat code. I mean, again, just it's you can't get better than that. I feel like so. Unless obviously Kelsey and other more established players, but we're getting this at a pretty good cost. So um, we have to talk a little bit about this pick that John has just made at the fifth overall pick. He gets Trevor Lawrence, the first QB off the board. What do you think about that, Warren?
I would have taken him four,
Okay.
personally.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's great. Good
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah, totally. I think Trevor Lawrence, there's, again, we're saying generational talent a lot, but I think he is a generational talent. I think he is really, really good. He really has no weaknesses. I think some of what I had seen, maybe he deals with pressure a little bit, or some foreign pressures to him. He kind of has struggled to deal with it, but that's because people are giving him the hardest level of defenses because he's so darn good and he makes everyone else look really silly. So I think he's great. I mean, some of the criticism might be that he took a step back in his last year in college, but I don't think that's true. I think the skills are all there, and he makes some big boy throws. So I think that's great for Jacksonville. I think that's great for Mars, and it's going to be super exciting to see him on the NFL field. Diaz, you have anything? If you're back, I don't know if you're still here.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
I mean, great pick, Warren. Congratulations to you. And yeah, Trevor Lawrence, very exciting. Very exciting to have a player like that on Mars. I think the so many iconic players that have gone through that franchise, and for John to be able to say that to brag about Trevor Lawrence and try to spin him and see how much he can get on the market, that's going to be really good for all of us.
You think he's gonna be traded very soon? Oh man. Well, we never know with Mars, so I guess yeah, anything can happen there. Jay did pick with this sixth overall pick, Jalen Waddle, which is I don't know, is that surprising? Do you guys think that's surprising? I'm not too surprised. I think Jalen Waddle is very, very good. And again, I don't understand the Travis Etienne thing, so I'm not a big fan of Etienne, so I get it, and I can understand why Jalen Waddle. But what about Devonta Smith as well, right? If you're thinking about wide receiver, what do you guys think about that, Warren?
Um, yeah, I think Devontae is pretty awesome too. But there's the whole no one knows how much of a dumpster fire the Philly offense is going to be. I think everyone
Right.
expects it to be at least somewhat of a dumpster fire. But if they're really like the second or third worst team in the league, then you know that situation might just be too shitty for even a good player to make something out of. But I like Devontae. I like Jalen Waddle. I think the concerns about Waddle are that one of the main things he brings the downfield speed. Like they already have that in other players.
Hmm.
So you know I think he's really good, but I see what people are saying about you know uh, the overlapping skill sets, and is a rookie going to cut into uh, the snaps or the looks of other players who can do some similar things? But I think he's a good player.
Diaz?
Yeah, Waddle enters a very variable situation. There's a lot of things that can happen. We talk a lot about Tua Tagovailoa,
Yeah, true.
and also it's a crowded wide receiver room. But I think it's really encouraging for Waddle that his competition for targets is Devontae Parker, who I believe already hurt, and Will Fuller, who I think is also dealing with an injury. And either one of those players are really stalwarts when it comes to health. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for Waddle to really find himself in a very favorable situation very quickly. I think I was surprised by the pick, but I can definitely understand it.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially with Jay's team, he has Tyreek Hill, or he had Tyreek Hill for a long time. And maybe Waddle could be kind of the next Tyreek Hill, maybe. But he certainly has, well, maybe not the same speed, but somewhat close. John is joining us. John, how are you feeling after that Trevor Lawrence pick? What do you want to tell us about this pick?
Dude, honestly, I had a feeling that if Andrew went Trevor Lawrence, I would have been sad. But looking at the situation, I thought that he wouldn't, which is why I traded down to 5. I think at $12, Trevor Lawrence is going to be a real good pick, and he might actually make up for me losing Mahomes years ago for the next couple of years. So, feeling pretty good, man.
Yeah, I like how you're thinking in years. I know already someone here talked about you trading Trevor, which may happen still. I don't want to force you into doing anything, but yeah, Trevor is amazing, and I do want to say for me, it's difficult for me have to even consider Trevor just because I would just be the Jacksonville offense with if I'm keeping Chark already and I want to keep Chenault. So that definitely played into the trade from my perspective as well. So I think it was a pretty good scenario for both of us, John.
Playing against you now, though. That sucks.
Yeah. And I guess we want to talk a little bit about Duo's pick. Oakland with the 7th overall pick takes Travis Etienne. I've talked a little bit about it, but I'll let you guys go and voice your thoughts. Do you guys have anything to say? Let's just start with you, Warren.
Oh, I know you don't like him, but I think he's pretty awesome. I think they'll find a way to get him the ball.
Yeah.
We're kind of like in an era of football now where there's like 4 guys who are workhorses and that's it. And then after that, you're just looking for guys who have explosive ability. And I think just given the college production against great competition, like even if the measurables don't say he's like the fastest person in the field, he definitely looks like the fastest person in the field. So, I like him a lot.
Yeah, it's a good point about the explosiveness point of Diaz.
Yeah, it's there's so many questions about what Jacksonville is gonna look like on offense this season. Urban Meyer coming out talking about calling Travis Etienne slash, saying he wants to run him the wide receiver. There was how they were disappointed that hadn't been able to draft Kadarius Toney, and so maybe they're trying to try to deploy Etienne, and that's sort of wide receiver running back hybrid role. I think it can only mean good things. They have a running back and James Robinson, who was excellent last season. But my prediction is that Robinson does take a back seat as the season goes on, and that Travis Etienne is able to shoulder the load, and that he becomes a really cool pick here.
Yep. John, you have any thoughts? And I also wanted to ask you about. I'll ask you a question after, but go ahead with the Etienne if you have any thoughts on him.
Yeah, no, I think before Percy Harvin got migraines, he was actually really good in that role. So I do think that there'll be value for Travis Etienne or Etienne. I don't know how you pronounce his name, but for me, like if Andrew took Trevor Lawrence, I would have been really happy with Etienne at 5 too. So I think pick at 7 for sure.
Got it. Yeah, I was going to ask who you were going to pick if it wasn't Trevor. So you pretty much answered my question with that as well. I guess we're waiting on Capital Region with their 8th overall pick here. Who do you guys think stands out here for the 8th overall pick? The top of the board says Devontae Smith, but what do you think, John?
I mean,
it's Devontae Smith, Michael Carter, Trey
I don't
Sermon.
remember
What's on the top. Yeah.
I don't remember Ken's team, but I do think maybe Justin Fields is a good pick here too.
Oh, right. And right. Thinking about QB as well. Justin Fields, Trey Lance. Those are available as well. So very interesting. Lauren, what do you think?
Oh, sorry. Someone was playing some dope music. I don't know what that was. Got me hyped. Um, I feel like Ken probably takes a QB here. Just for the because of the historical experience of having gotten Mahomes and seeing
Hmm.
what that can do for your franchise. I feel like taking taking Fields or Lance and having that pan out. That's like the uh, it gives him two of the most dynamic quarterbacks if the second one pans out, and it's like a passing of the torch
Right.
as well.
Yeah, makes sense. Diaz, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, my expectation is that Ken has the impression that any quarterback he takes in the rookie draft will automatically reach the ceiling. So take the one who has the highest ceiling, which according to most pundits, is Trey Lance. I mean, yeah, he hit on Justin Herbert, he hit on Patrick Mahomes, so he'll just take a QB and it'll be great. That's what happens. Why I know you take Mahomes in the draft, but he's got the touch, so.
Yeah, I
He'll
mean,
he'll choose who to anoint.
you make a fair point. He's really been on fire with these, so um, makes sense. I think he's got about 6 minutes left. For the most part, are you guys like surprised about the draft, how it's unfolded so far, or is this somewhat what you guys expected, or any thoughts along those lines? Anyone can jump in here. Yeah.
I really, for one reason in my mind, I connect Duho and Justin Fields
Ah.
from Jump Street, and so it's really weird to me now that Justin Fields very likely won't be, you know, are they still the Pooper Troopers? But uh, whatever team he's playing on, it's like the real NFL draft. All these teams who certainly had a need. I mean, all the in the NFL draft, multiple teams, but I think Bo was a team who had a need at quarterback and chose to go in a different direction instead of taking Justin Fields.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe not yet. Maybe eventually that could happen, but who knows, right? But as of right now, it looks like it's unlikely to happen. Anyone else? Other thoughts on how the draft has unfolded thus far?
I think it went
John
pretty
sounds
much
like
as
okay.
expected until. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was teeing you up.
Oh, thanks. Um, yeah, but I think Andrew's surprised with the Javante pick. But there is a lot of material out there that's hyping him up. And I guess running back has been a need. I think he's had Joe Mixon the last couple years. So
Sure.
he's probably looking for somebody to rely on. And hopefully I don't know. I think this is a Joe Mixon year, though. So, Andrew, if you're hearing this, definitely draft him.
Yeah, Warren, go ahead.
John Mix, Joe Mixon. All right, got it. Go ahead.
I actually had Joe Mixon 2 years ago, and he was pretty unreliable. I also had always figured that Duho would wind up with Fields, but that's because I didn't think Etienne would
Drop.
wind up
Yeah.
dropping to 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Duho likes owning Bears players because he has like an affinity for the Bears from his time living in Chicago.
Right.
He started to root for them,
Right.
but I don't think anyone would have predicted Etienne dropping to 7. So I think it's good value there, even though Wonky hates him.
I don't like him, yes, but I don't think he probably should have dropped that far. It is kind of surprising that he dropped as much as he did. I don't think the order of Javante and Etienne was anything surprising to me. I think that could have happened for sure, and personally, I would have done that if it was my choice between those two running backs. And yeah, I mean, Jalen Waddle again. I mean, it's not surprising too much, but it is kind of surprising because as we talked about, ETN could have gone there, and maybe Jay will think about this pick, and maybe we'll be talking about this pick in the future a lot about how Waddle was taken ahead of ETN. I guess we
It's
got
definitely possible.
3 minutes left. What'd you say? Warren?
I think it's definitely possible that
Yeah.
that'll be like the main uh, thing we talk about out of the first round. It's like it's definitely the most you know unpredictable
Mm-hmm.
choice that was made.
Uh, John, are you getting ready for the basketball this weekend? By the way.
So, to be honest, I found my basketball stuff, got real hyped, and I think that held me over until now. But I do have to actually shoot the basketball and touch it a little more. So, hoping to do some of that tonight, next few days. But it did feel good dribbling the basketball for the first time in a while. Like, it wasn't like hitting me in the face or anything. So, that was nice.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, it's hard. It's been so long, with the pandemic and all, playing basketball. But anyways, yeah. Looking forward to this showdown. Oh man.
Yeah, no, I honestly, and well, now that Warren's on, can you give us a little sneak peek of what you
Oh
saw
yeah,
from
yeah, yeah,
Hua
yeah, yeah.
during your training?
Well, Juan was not hitting himself in the face with the dribble, so that's if that's where you're setting the bar, Juan's clearing it.
That's good.
All right, that's good. Was he like really in shape? Would you say?
Uh, I mean, he ran 2.5 miles before before we started playing, and he wasn't yeah he
What?
wasn't like gassed. So
Goodness. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's got that dad strength now too. Definitely not someone to overlook for sure. But
yeah, not that much dad strength though.
okay. I tried. I tried, Hua. Uh, but yeah, it's looking like there's less than a minute, so I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if.
called him. It went to voicemail, so I don't think he's
Uh-oh.
gonna make the pick. To be honest,
All right, so maybe it goes auto pick.
who's
All right,
next on the like the ADP, the Fantrax
it's
ranking?
Devonta Smith, but we talked about setting the auto draft queue, so maybe he set it, but maybe he didn't. I don't know.
I think it's unlikely that he said it,
Yeah, well, we're about to find out.
but knowing Ken, Devonte Smith might be the best pick in the draft if he autos him. So.
I agree. I
All
think
right.
it's gonna work out for him if he just with his history of auto picking. Sometimes auto pick is the answer. You just have no responsibility, right? I didn't do it. The computer made me do it.
I think Kenneth Gainwell is the move here. I mean, same game. They can handcuff, Sanders. I think it's really a savvy pick.
I think you're breaking up a bit, yes. But
Well, I'm sitting right next to the router, so there's no excuse now. I don't know what to tell you.
oh man. But I think I heard you say that it was a good pick. I think that it's solid. Right?
I was saying I think he should take Gainwell.
I don't know what. Well, anyways, the pick is in. Devonta Smith with the 8th overall pick. You know,
That sounded like simulation DS.
it did sound like simulation Diaz. It sounded like we lost him to the simulations. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, I think we were talking about QB, but what do you guys think about Devonta Smith at the 8th overall? I mean, I think it's fine. I think he's great. He's going to be skilled. I think a lot of people say he's too small, but I don't necessarily think that's going to be a huge factor. Warren, what do you think?
Oh yeah, I really like him. I think it all comes down to is Jalen Hurts going to be able to play quarterback, or is he going to be
Sure.
purely a rushing yards fantasy player?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, with that logic, I guess Devontae Smith is going to be the best pick in the draft. Huh?
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that would work out well for you too. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. The Hurts. So now we have 2 more picks for the first round. We've got Great Kills, which is Matt, and then Hua with the last pick. I wonder if they go back-to-back QBs here. I wonder. It could happen, right? Oh man.
My only question would be No, between these two teams, there are three quarterbacks who we expect to be on the team coming into the season, right?
Good point.
Justin
Good point.
Herbert, Baker Mayfield, and the Bengals. What's his name?
Burrow? How
Yeah,
dare you?
Joe
No, I'm
Burrow.
just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Burrow.
So
You're right.
these teams are rich in quarterbacks. Obviously, Great Hill is rich in running backs as well.
Yes, they are.
Virginia's great, basically rich in every. They've got every kind of keeper.
Right. So maybe it goes QB then RB. I'm trying to fill in the
But yeah,
gaps. Yes, I think I'm hearing most of it, but
I'm sorry. Apologies.
no worries. It happens. It happens to the best of us. Um, John, what do you think? What do you think? Great Kills does here.
I would think he goes Trey Lance.
Oh wow, Trey Lance. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
he's gonna go QB. I think Great Kills will go QB, but I'm not sure about Virginia. What do you think, Warren?
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I think he's gonna go QB here. That's what I think. But I think Dustin's a big fan of Fields.
Oh,
But
is he?
who knows how much? I think so. Let me do a quick search for
Yeah. Do
Dustin
that.
talking about Fields real quick.
I thought he didn't like Fields, but
Oh, is that right?
maybe he was trolling back when it seemed like the Jets were going to get Fields.
Well, honest question. If you can hear me,
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, we hear you.
how much input did Dustin have on this pick?
Oh, good point. Yeah, we don't know. We have no idea. You're right.
We don't know,
Dustin
yeah.
might not have anything to do with this pick now. It's
Yeah,
100%
honestly,
Matt.
Great Kills has gone from one of the teams that has the most data about them to a team that has no data about them. Like, I don't know any players who Matt likes or dislikes.
Oh, but don't you think there's influence just from being around Dustin for many, many years? Like, don't you think some of that has rubbed off?
I hope so, because otherwise I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I feel like Dustin and Matt probably at least discussed draft strategy before Dustin handed the reins off. Maybe next year it'll be more of like a Matt only show, but I feel like there's still Dustin's fingerprints probably on this year's offseason.
Right, especially as a consultant, maybe like just to talk things through, right? But yeah, why did you think it was gonna be Trey Lance, John?
I just think they could afford to let someone sit and marinate. And Trey Lance, I think,
Oh.
again, if he ends up reaching his potential with that offense, with Shanahan, and again, I think his ceiling is probably the highest in the QB group. So
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, we're just waiting. 10 minutes left for the pick. I'm pretty excited. What about non-QBs here? What would you guys think about potentially? And Warren, you don't have to speak too much. I think I forgot that you have the 201 there. So it's up to you how much you want to say. But for John and Diaz, maybe you could speak more freely about potential other players here.
I mean, I can't. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Diaz.
My question was, what was the question?
It goes both ways, right? The connection is a little weird both ways. The question was, if it's not QB, who would you consider here?
Well, Trey Sermon is someone who reminds me a lot of Antonio Gibbs situationally from last season. Now, obviously, I don't watch as much college football, so I won't say their play styles are necessarily similar, but you look for a player who's in a backfield that appears crowded, but may have some players who, could appear, or like, why would this player be ahead of the rookie? And so as someone who, I don't necessarily trust Raheem Mostert as maybe others do. I think that Trey Sermon has a path to a lot of carries, and that's something that's really attractive to me.
Yep. And just as we were talking about other players, the pick is now in. It is Trey Lance, and I think you nailed it, John. I think you had the read. I guess they are thinking about the marination. And again, the upside is the greatest. I think Trey Lance is really, really talented. I think he's very good. I know there's criticisms about how his competition wasn't great and he only had one full year and so on and so forth. But no, I think the skills are all there. I think he's going to be a very good player for Great Kills. Maybe not for this year, but you never know if Jimmy G kind of struggles a little bit. That's going to be the impetus for a QB change midway through the season. Did you have any more thoughts on that, John? Or since I know you were talking a little bit about Trey Lance here.
Yeah, no, I actually have to drop, but all I want to say is this is a Dr. John Wall year, so
oh.
You know, I expected to nail that pick. So, all right, I'll leave you guys
All
with
right,
that.
thank you, Dr. John Wall.
All righty.
See you later. Yeah, he I think Trey Lance is really, really good. Personally, I feel like that was the pick of the draft, to be honest. I think man, if I were completely honest with all of you guys, I might have picked Trey Lance at 1-5. And that just felt a little bit weird to me to do that, but I think I could have done it if I didn't trade and, you know, had the pick without question. For me, Trey Lance was one of the higher people on my board, players on my board for sure. Warren, do you want to say anything else about Trey Lance? I don't know if you said anything.
Yeah, I think taking him at 1-5 would not have been crazy at all. I think you know, like Dustin's been saying, super high upside.
Yeah.
If you're gonna go for it, you know, go for it. I think with you know, I'm on this thing where I normally don't pay that much attention to what's going on in camp because it's
Mm-hmm.
just, you know, beat writers looking for something to say.
Yeah,
But you know, everything coming out of camp sounds great for him. So shit. You know, if the guy's at the highest upside and he's already looking great,
yeah.
seems pretty good to me.
It feels like a great kills pick too because of I think they like to think about the systems and how the situation is a lot for their players, and I think San Francisco is quite a great situation to be in for a running QB as well. So and he can sling it too. I think Trey Lance is going to be amazing. Diaz, you want to add anything about Trey Lance as we wait for the last pick of the first round?
No, it's all been said. The only question is, you know, how much time Great Kills can afford to hold on to him on the bench. If
Yeah.
he does, you know, he's not hurt right away, it seems. I think a lot of us think that sooner rather than later is going to get that call. But this is a team that frequently contends, and it may be tempting to trade him away if they, you know, if he is warming the bench for them. So. I'm sure the expectation is that they will be able to be patient because of everything you all have just said. But hopefully for the rest of us, he becomes available at some point and there's a chance because we're all Trey fans.
Yeah, I guess maybe there isn't a Trey Lance hater. I guess everyone just agrees on Lance being pretty good, and yeah, I think the only negative really is that patience that you need to have holding him. Just like how Mahomes had to wait a year, right? Maybe that same thing happens with Trey Lance. And you know, the payoff is obviously worth it, but you're going to have to get through that 1 year without his contribution. So 10 minutes left for Hua to make the pick here. I don't think Hua can trade the pick, so he's definitely thinking about what player to pick, right? So I know we talked a little bit about potentially picking a QB. Any other thoughts? Let's skip Warren here. This is much more closer to his 201 pick now. So Diaz, any other considerations? I know you said Trey Sermon. Anyone else? Maybe Michael Carter? You think that could be it?
Yeah, Carter's the player we haven't really discussed who is a top of the board right now. Another guy who's got an inside track to carries. You know, he was an excellent player at UNC.
Yeah,
he doesn't have a lot of competition. He doesn't have a lot of competition in on the best, and he could certainly be a player who has value for multiple years. So I think he's definitely an attractive piece here.
Yeah, I think any of those three players that we're talking about, Michael Carter, Trey Sermon, Justin Fields, they all make sense. Maybe less so the QB, just because he already has two, and Fields isn't someone who needs that marination. I think he's going to play pretty early this year. We'll see though. Um, yeah, I wonder how much of it came into play. Thinking about maybe, I mean, obviously Grey Kills love to take Trey Lance just because of who Trey Lance is, but maybe they consider that Virginia would take Trey Lance, because that would have made sense as well, having that extra QB just wait behind Herbert and Burrow, potentially. But yeah, 8 minutes left.
Yeah,
Looking forward to this pick. Yeah,
the thing about a QB for Virginia, beyond just what they have now, is their two quarterbacks are likely multi-year values.
that's a good
So
point.
to have a rookie quarterback as a third, and obviously they had three QBs this year. They have a problem making a trade. This team never has a problem making a trade, but it's not necessarily a situation you want to put yourself in where you say, I have three players at the same position. I really want to keep two of them, so I have to figure out what to do.
Sure.
I think that Fields makes a lot of sense here, but I could see the perspective of just needing depth at other positions. His futures, as far as running backs are concerned, are not nearly as certain as quarterback.
Right. There's a lot of trash talking, I think, in the Discord right now. Some claims of the Mahomes 2.0 being thrown around. Yeah, I mean, I could see it. I think Trevor's great, though. I don't think. I think it's going to be close. If there is a gap between Lance and Lance being better than Trevor for fantasy purposes, I think the gap won't be huge. So I wouldn't destroy John with this Trevor pick, but yeah, it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting to think about with all these picks, and I'm sure Warren's head is spinning as he also thinks about what he's gonna do with the 2-1. But yeah, 7 minutes left for Hua to pick here. Let's see it. I personally think Hua's gonna go with a running back, just because of what you guys said about the QB thing. But to me, I wonder which one.
Yeah, I'm very curious what he's thinking, because he had to know that this situation would present itself.
Right.
And like you said, there's no trade that can be made here.
No trade can be made. I'm also thinking about the wide receivers. Is there any world there? We've got Elijah Moore, Rashad Bateman, and if you go a little deeper, maybe Rondale Moore, Nico Collins. But maybe of the first two, Elijah Moore, Rashad Bateman, they could be interesting. Again, Warren, you don't have to say anything. But yeah, I mean, Elijah Moore is a very interesting talent, and he's on the Jets. I think the Jets are going to be pretty good on offense now with Adam Gase gone. And then Rashad Bateman, you guys know how I feel about Baltimore and their offense, so I'm optimistic. And I think Bateman is pretty good, so I wouldn't be surprised with either of those picks as well. This isn't something like last year where I thought it was very obvious, but this is not obvious to me at all. And maybe Hua's feeling the same thing right now. It's not obvious to him at all. as even if he's like listening to us right now, I bet it's making him confused.
Yeah, it's gotta be tough for him, because thinking back to last year, he had 2-1, and he missed with it.
That's a good point.
Afterwards, who have proven to be really two of the most valuable keepers in the league. It was really a big regret for him. He had Jalen Reagor all year. And likewise, 110 last season was also a cursed pick when John took Henry Ruggs. So, there's always pressure. You don't want to make the mistake and then see the person who was picked right afterward, become the player that you could have had.
Right. And you can easily start mind gaming yourself, right? You could easily start being like, oh, but then I shouldn't make the wrong pick, so I should make the safe pick. But then, sometimes the safe pick is actually the wrong pick, right? Like, this is it's tough. It's tough mentally as you try to make the right choice and navigate the landmines that might exist in this draft. Yeah, we got 4 minutes and a little bit left as we wait for this last pick. Still very curious. I wonder if he takes the full time because this seems like it's a tough decision for him.
Yeah, I think if I'm Hua, I take the player I think has the best chance of contributing this year. He's got the title defense. You know,
That's a great point.
he's got a heck of a keeper crop.
He
You know,
does.
if anyone was ever going to repeat, oh, there you go, pick is in.
Rashad Bateman. I love it. But that's because I'm biased. Warren, you want to continue? Continue talking. What do you think about Rashad Bateman going right in front of you?
I'm cool with that.
Okay.
I think he would have been in contention for me at 2-1, but
Sure.
I think he's a fine pick at the end of the first round. I know we've talked a lot about Hollywood and about the Baltimore offense. I think Bateman's awesome. There's definitely a decent chance he steps in and just becomes the best wide receiver there, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, 100%.
if the offense kind of moves more in that direction of more heavily featuring the passing game, it could be an awesome pick.
Yep, I see that Hua is on right now. Do you want to talk about your pick, Hua?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
I think the only thing that confused me and why it took so long was because someone who I didn't expect to be there ended up being there, which you guys can probably guess who that is. So that's why it took so long. But I had it was between I had 3 guys and 2 of them were left who I thought would be there, and I think I actually considered Fields here.
Right.
But the problem was I didn't expect Fields to drop, so I didn't do any research on him. So, I basically crammed 5 minutes of research, thought about taking him just because people seem to like him. But at the end of the day, I think I could only really go with someone I've actually watched film on.
Sure. I think that's fair. I think that's very fair. And we were talking about your QB situation. I think it makes sense with that in mind as well. And Rashad Bateman as a player, man, I really like that guy. I mean, even before he was drafted to Baltimore, I really, really liked Rashad Bateman as a wide receiver for this year. And some of the stuff that I really like about him is kind of off the field stuff too, which is probably not too related to football. But I think he's got really high character, really good work ethic. I think he's going to succeed in what he does, and I'm sure you'll be happy to hear that. And on the field, he's just a technician out there. I mean, obviously, he doesn't have the greatest athleticism, but I think what he brings is just amazing technical skills and all of the skills required to be a great wide receiver, other than the flashy stuff, right? So I think he's going to be great for you as well as Baltimore. So I'm super excited.
That is good to hear.
But I am actually surprised a little bit that Justin Fields kind of gets shafted. It's kind of like the real NFL, right? Justin Fields doesn't get drafted in the first round of the HFFL. So I wonder what this means. I wonder where he'll end up actually going. We don't know yet. He could still keep falling. No idea. And then, yeah, I'm super excited to see all the other picks, but I want to hear if you guys have any other thoughts about the first round in general, anything that really stood out, both good or bad. The floor is yours, guys. Let's start with Diaz. We haven't heard from you in a while.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think our wide receivers went than I expected. But the guys who were selected were all excellent. They have a lot of NFL draft capital, so it makes sense to me. Very excited to see how things shake out there. And yeah, I'll be very curious to see what happens with the running backs. Trey Sermon. They are, they're guys who appear to be in times now. Maybe no two running backs, maybe backup. who have, plenty of upside. So I'll be very curious to see which one gets picked first. If some picks move around, he wants to move up, get them. Like Rick Hill's moved up and very very did a great job getting Antonio Gibson last year.
Right.
So very excited for the second round.
Yeah. Well, you weren't here for most of the draft, so did you have any thoughts that, like, anything that you saw was super surprising, both good or bad, either direction?
It's a little surprised that I guess Trey Lance was taken before Fields. I kind of expected, I expected, like, because in our league, it's not really truly a dynasty super flex where, like you can afford to wait a really long time.
Sure.
So I think people will generally expect Fields to be potentially a day one starter or potentially like very soon.
Yeah,
like
faster than, yeah.
Yeah, faster than Lance. So that was interesting to me. Other than that, I think where people ended up was a little bit surprising. I think the Javonte pick kind of threw everyone, I think, for a spin, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think Andrew Chu, he tends to do that. He kind of just breaks open the draft. I think, like, as I said, the top three was kind of chalk. I think it was kind of predictable, but after that, that's when the real draft started. Warren, you want to talk a little bit about anything else, or you think you covered most of what you had thought?
Yeah, I'm not going to give too much away. I got
Oh
the
yeah,
next
no,
pick.
yeah,
So
yep.
yeah, good first round though, and I liked how briskly it moved.
Yeah, definitely. I like the speed of this as well. So this was fun. If you guys don't have any other statements to make to close out, I think we're good here, and I'm looking forward to 9 a.m. start tomorrow, right? So and a 2-hour clock, I believe. So looking forward to it. I'm excited for it, and I'll see you guys later. Anyone have anything to say?
Can't wait to Pittsburgh.
Well, anything as our commish here? You got anything?
Nope. Round two starts tomorrow morning, bright and early, 9 a.m.
Let's do it. All right. See you guys tomorrow.
And Warren is allowed to take all 2 hours if he wants.
Who? Warren?
Warren, yes. If he needs the 2 hours, he is entitled to 2 hours.
I
Please
might take
don't.
him.
Please don't. But yeah, good luck with the rest of the draft, guys. And it would be great if all 10 of these players do really well for each respective team. But usually that doesn't happen. But anyways, yeah, we'll catch up some other time. See you guys.